Treasury held its first debate over the weekend.
The economy is expected to expand 2.5% this year.
Boosting Korea's ties with its global partners on the sidelines of the status UN summit. A massive drone attack on Ukraine overnight on Monday and Tuesday.
Arirang.
Introducing Korean broadcast content that you won't be able to stop watching. For weary modern souls, Dr. Romantic, the quirky genius doctor of Puldam Hospital, prescribes heartwarming tales of humanity. A couple together for 7 years sees their rose-tinted glasses shatter. Can they keep their relationship alive? Discover the raw stories of youth, work, and love. Beyond what social media can show, experience the vibrant Korea through its hidden gems. Mama, the ultimate K-pop festival for global fans. Find your star in a feast of trendy music and electrifying performances. Now, the whole world enjoys it together.
South Korea's President Lee Jae-myung and Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi are set to meet for a summit today in Andong City, Lee's hometown. The two leaders are expected to discuss regional security cooperation, as well as the economy and social issues. Samsung Electronics and its labor union have resumed talks over pay and bonuses, raising hopes of avoiding a potentially disruptive strike at the tech giant. The second round of government-mediated negotiations that began yesterday comes after the first round collapsed last week. U.S. President Donald Trump says he has called off a planned attack on Iran at the request of Gulf states, as serious negotiations are now taking place. His comments come as Iran has reportedly submitted a revised peace proposal through Pakistani mediators. Hello and thanks for joining us on Arirang News. President Lee Jae-myung and Prime Minister Takaichi are set to meet in South Korea's central city of Andong this afternoon. We now go live to our political correspondent Moon Hye-ryun, who is standing by on site. It's good to see you, Hye-ryun. Tell us more about what's happening where you are.
Good afternoon, Undi. I'm currently standing by Andong's provincial office, which is not too far from where the two leaders are expected to meet this afternoon. As we entered the city this morning, we were greeted by banners welcoming Prime Minister Takaichi to President Lee's hometown. And this detail has been garnering a lot of attention because this means that this visit is a direct reciprocation of President Lee's trip to Takaichi's home prefecture of Nara earlier this year, making it the first time the two countries' leaders have exchanged hometown visits. It will be the third meeting overall, continuing a pattern of regular high-level diplomacy the two sides have been building since they first met at last October's APEC summit in Cheongung-II. The Prime Minister has yet to arrive, so it's still relatively quiet here, though a heavy security presence is already visible across the city ahead of her arrival.
Right, Hye-ryun, what can we expect to happen later today? Walk us through the schedule for this afternoon.
Right, so this just in, it seems as though, Prime Minister Takaichi just arrived at Daegu International Airport, so she'll be making her way here to the summit venue in Andong, where she'll be greeted by honor guards in traditional dress. And here the two leaders are expected to, hold talks covering a broad range of issues, ranging from economic cooperation to social policy and the protection of their citizens overseas. Now, it looks as though the situation in the Middle East is also likely to feature, given the pressure it is placing on energy markets and global supply chains that both countries depend on heavily. We'll hear directly from the two leaders at the joint press conference following the summit. The afternoon will then give way to a more personal program. The Prime Minister Takaichi will be hosted at a banquet dinner where the menu will feature Andong Jimdak, a braised chicken dish native to the city, paired with traditional Andong liquor and sake from the traditional home prefecture of Nara from the Prime Minister Takaichi's home prefecture. year. The two leaders will then head to Hawe Folk Village, a UNESCO World Heritage Site renowned for its centuries-old traditional houses, to watch a performance of pansori, a traditional Korean narrative opera. President Lee has also prepared a set of gifts for Prime Minister Takaichi rooted in Andong's cultural heritage, including a wooden Hae mosque carving, a Chosan Tongsunsa themed set featuring Korean red tinseng, and a handy leather bag, and a white porcelain frame inspired by the traditional Korean moon jar, each chosen to symbolize the history and friendship between the two countries. And that's all I have for now, but I'll be back in a later newscast with more developments. Back to you, Undi.
All right, Hidden, thank you for that. Keep us updated. Meanwhile, Samsung Electronics and its labor union began further talks this morning over pay and bonuses in a bid to avert the biggest strike in the tech giant's history. This comes amid concerns that a walkout by more than 45,000 workers set to begin on Thursday could hit Korea's economy and disrupt global supply chains. Our Park Jun-an reports.
Samsung Electronics and its union kicked off more government-mediated negotiations at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, after the two sides failed to bridge differences over performance bonuses the previous day. The union is demanding that Samsung formally guarantee a bonus pool equivalent to 15% of the company's operating profit under its overall performance incentive, or OPI system. They are also calling for the removal of the current cap that limits these bonuses to 50% of an employee's annual salary. Management, on the other hand, insists on maintaining the current calculation system, stating it cannot eliminate the bonus ceiling. Instead, the company suggested that industry-leading compensation could be provided through special incentives if Samsung secures the top spot in the market. The situation has become critical enough that Samsung Electronics chairman Lee Jae-yong stepped in on Saturday, issuing a public apology and making an urgent appeal for unity. Despite the union's warnings that a walkout could last for up to 18 days, the planned full-scale strike faced a significant setback on Monday. A local court largely accepted Samsung's request for an injunction, ruling that essential staffing levels at key production facilities must be maintained at normal levels during any industrial action. With the strike deadline fast approaching, President Lee Jae-myung shared a message on social media, emphasizing that labor rights must be respected as much as business management rights. He stressed that such a balance is essential under Korea's liberal democratic order and capitalist market economy. Prime Minister Kim Min-seok also stated on Sunday that the government would consider all available measures to protect the national economy. Under current labor laws, the labor minister holds the authority to suspend a strike for up to 30 days if the walkout poses a serious threat to the economy. Park Jun-an, Arirang News.
The United States has halted a planned attack on Iran, citing negotiations toward a peace agreement. The announcement comes as Tehran reportedly submitted a revised peace proposal through Pakistani mediators, while tensions remain over key nuclear issues. Our Cho Young-eun reports.
U.S. President Donald Trump announced on Monday that he had suspended a military strike on Iran that had been scheduled for Tuesday. The decision reportedly came as serious negotiations toward a peace agreement were underway. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said he had been asked to halt the strike by leaders of Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. The U.S. president said the pause was considered very acceptable to the U.S. and countries in the Middle East, but stressed that there would be no nuclear weapons for Iran.
I've put it off for a little while, hopefully maybe forever, but possibly for a little while, because we've had very big discussions with Iran, and we'll see what they amount to. I was asked by...
Trump's remarks came as Tehran reportedly submitted a revised 14-point peace proposal through Pakistani mediators. A Pakistani source which has conveyed messages between the two sides since hosting the peace talks last month confirmed that Islamabad had delivered the latest proposal to Washington. Iranian state media earlier reported that Washington had failed to offer any concrete concessions to Tehran.
Therefore, from the very day after we sent our points to the American side via Pakistan, we were faced with a series of proposals from the other side which have been reviewed over the past few days. As was announced yesterday, our own views have in turn been conveyed to the American side.
The latest response came after Trump warned Sunday that the clock is ticking for Iran to accept a peace agreement, saying that there won't be anything left of them if Iranian leaders did not get moving fast. Tehran, meanwhile, says its current focus is entirely on reaching an agreement to end the war, adding that detailed discussions on nuclear issues have not yet taken place, leaving it as one of the key sticking points in the negotiations. 조영은, Arirang News.
The United States has extended a sanctions waiver allowing energy-vulnerable countries temporary access to Russian seaborne oil. The announcement came as international oil prices continue to swing between sharp gains and losses amid uncertainty surrounding the Iran war. Our Kim Junho reports.
The U.S. has extended for another 30 days a sanction waiver allowing purchases of Russian seaborne oil for what it called energy-vulnerable countries amid growing uncertainty surrounding the Iran war. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said in a post on X Monday that Washington is issuing a new 30-day general license. This will allow any country to purchase Russian oil and petroleum products stranded on tankers after the previous waiver expired on Saturday without violating U.S. sanctions on major Russian energy firms. The waiver is the second 30-day extension since the measure was first introduced in March. It also reverses earlier plans by the Treasury chief not to grant another extension after he said last month that no further renewal was under consideration. According to Reuters, the latest waiver came at the request of vulnerable countries unable to secure Gulf oil shipments due to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Bessent added that the measure would reroute existing oil supplies toward nations most in need and enable countries to compete with China for the previously sanctioned oil. Meanwhile, international oil prices swung sharply the same day Washington announced its latest sanctions relief measure as markets reacted to rapidly evolving developments surrounding the Iran war. The global benchmark Brent crude briefly climbed above $112 a barrel, up 2.6% from the previous session and marking its highest level in about 2 weeks. Prices later pulled back below $109 after U.S. President Donald Trump said he would hold off on a planned military strike against Iran at the request of regional allies. Kim Junho, Arirang News.
The United States has approved potential military sales to South Korea worth more than $4 billion, including AH-64E naval helicopters and upgrades for Apache attack helicopters. The proposed package includes 24 AH-64E helicopters, sonar, and related equipment in a deal valued at $3 billion, along with a $1.2 billion Apache upgrade program. The State Department said the deals will strengthen South Korea's defense capabilities and coordination with U.S. forces. The sales are part of the Foreign Military Sales Program and still require approval from the U.S. Congress before moving forward. In Cheongung-II, the medium-range surface-to-air missile system has been attracting global attention as it showed off its outstanding performance during the war between the U.S. and Iran. The Air Force recently let a group of reporters have a rare look of the system's actual training. Our Kim Bo-kyung files this report.
With loud sirens signaling the detection of an enemy ballistic missile launch, personnel from the Missile Defense Command sprint to the Cheongung-II launcher. Through swift procedures, the system is brought to full launch readiness within just 10 minutes.
This is the Cheongung-II system that responded to Iran's large-scale combined ballistic missile attacks during the Iran war earlier this year. As you can see, each vertical launcher has 8 interceptor missiles.
With the control center pressing the simulated launch button, the virtual ballistic missile on the radar disappears instantly, marking the end of the successful drill. The Cheongung-II system is one of the key components of South Korea's multi-layered missile defense network. After recording 29 successful interceptions out of 30 launches during the U.S.-Iran war, the system has attracted attention from many countries in the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and South America. Cheongung-II is emerging as a viable alternative to the Patriot system, thanks to its lower missile cost, significantly shorter delivery timelines, and flexible engagement capability. It uses cold launch technology, in which the missile is first ejected more than 10 meters into the air before the rocket ignites, and then turns toward its target in flight. This enables the launcher to engage targets without rotating, while minimizing the flame and blast effects on the ground and nearby equipment.
Our Cheongung-II demonstrates outstanding performance and is drawing strong international interest in exports. We conduct realistic daily training to defend South Korea against North Korea's increasingly advanced nuclear and missile threats.
Already serving as the core asset of South Korea's air and missile defense network, the system is now gaining momentum in the global defense market. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News, Sacheon.
In the United States, a deadly shooting at a mosque in San Diego is being investigated as a possible hate crime after 3 men were killed Monday. Police say 2 teenage suspects were later found dead nearby as authorities continue searching for a motive behind the attack. Our Lee Seung-jae has more.
Police in San Diego are investigating a deadly shooting at a mosque in the Claremont area of the city after 3 men were killed and 2 teenage suspects were later found dead nearby. According to San Diego Police Chief Scott Wall, police were called to the Islamic Center of San Diego, the largest mosque in the county, at approximately 11:43 a.m. on Monday.
They observed 3 deceased bodies outside of the center, which obviously forced them to engage in an active shooter response and immediately deploy inside of the Islamic Center and start working from room to room.
Among those killed was a mosque security guard. Authorities say the victim played a pivotal role in preventing more bloodshed. Officers responding to the scene also received reports of gunfire a few blocks away, where a landscaper was targeted but escaped without injury. Police later discovered the 2 teenage suspects dead inside a vehicle stopped in the middle of a nearby road. The suspects were believed to be 17 and 19, appeared to have died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. The Islamic Center of San Diego also houses the Al-Rashid School, which offers Arabic language and Islamic studies classes for children and adults. Television footage from the scene showed more than a dozen children being escorted out of the complex, while heavily armed officers secured the area. Investigators say the case is being treated as a hate crime, though police have not yet disclosed additional information about the suspects or what may have led to the shooting. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
This is The World Now, bringing you everything you need to know from around the globe. An American doctor has tested positive for Ebola in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo as the death toll passes 110. Health officials say the outbreak went undetected for 4 weeks because a local laboratory tested samples for the wrong Ebola strain. A large funeral gathering in April is believed to have accelerated the spread before any alarm was raised. In efforts to contain the virus, the World Health Organization is sending experts, and Congo will open 3 new treatment centers in the affected Ituri province. The U.S. has banned entry of foreign nationals who visited Congo, Uganda, or South Sudan in the past 3 weeks. The Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention chief said he is in, quote, panic mode due to shortage of medicine and vaccines. The cruise ship at the center of the deadly hantavirus outbreak docked in Rotterdam on Monday, where the remaining 25 crew members disembarked and went into quarantine. The MV Hondias will be cleaned by a specialized company in a process expected to take up to a week. Dutch health authorities said none of those coming off the ship were showing symptoms, and there was no risk to the city of Rotterdam. 3 people have died in the outbreak, a Dutch couple and a German national whose remains will be cremated in the Netherlands. A jury in California ruled against Elon Musk on Monday in his lawsuit against OpenAI, finding that he waited too long to sue the company. The verdict clears a major obstacle to OpenAI's potential $1 trillion stock market debut. Musk had accused OpenAI and CEO Sam Altman of betraying the company's nonprofit mission by accepting tens of billions of dollars from Microsoft. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. Musk said he plans to appeal. Swiss watchmaker Swatch was forced to close stores and put limits on queue lengths over the weekend after the launch of a collaboration with luxury brand Audemars Piguet. Sales of the Royal Pop pocket watch triggered brawls among shoppers in cities including Milan, New York, London, and Dubai. The watches sell for between $400 and $420, a fraction of what an Audemars Piguet normally commands, leading buyers to immediately resell them online as much as $25,000. Swatch said the chaos had affected around 20 of its 220 stores globally. The launch generated 11 billion social media views. Chu Ji-hyun, Arirang News.
After yesterday's record-breaking heat, temperatures are finally starting to ease a little today. Many parts of the Gyeongsang-do provinces and surrounding areas saw one of the hottest mid-May temperatures on record, with highs soaring to around 35 degrees Celsius yesterday. It will still feel warm for this time of year, but most regions will be around 1 to 5 degrees lower than yesterday. More relief from the unusual heat is on the way. Rain will begin early tomorrow morning in the Cheongung-do, Jeollado, and Jeju-do Island before spreading nationwide by the afternoon. Meanwhile, the capital area will see 30 to 80 millimeters of showers through Thursday. And as the rain moves in, temperatures will drop rapidly, falling below seasonal norms and bringing much cooler conditions to the country. Lastly, checking on today's highs now, Seoul gets up to 27 degrees, Gwangju at 30 degrees Celsius.
That's all we have for today's noon edition of Arirang News. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Stay tuned.
어렸을 때부터 어머니가 미술학원을 운영을 하셨어요. 그래서 거기 가서 놀고 하다 보니까 자연스럽게